Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, there's some recent stories going on saying that Israel is using kompromat to influence the Trump administration's policies towards Israel, which might explain the jumping in and bombing Iran, and when Israel is now trying to expand a ground campaign to basically take over Gaza or portions of Gaza, there's no pushback from the United States. I was reading a little bit of an article here that was suggesting that when Trump started criticizing Netanyahu for some actions or consequences taken from the war in Gaza against Hamas and the damaging of buildings like churches in Gaza, all of a sudden the Epstein files started popping up and became a problem that Trump is battling, and that might be kompromat that's being held over Trump. There's also people are wondering, do other intelligence agencies know about either election interference or, in this case, kompromat between, Epstein and Trump's relationship? Is there a client list, and do other NATO countries have access to that? So let's take a look at these spy things here, okay? So starting off, Israel. Do they hold kompromat over Trump? And are they using that to influence his decisions? So we have the King of Cups, kind of the mature emotional male as opposed to the crybaby. It could be the crybaby too. What's crossed with another man who's a man of action. So this might be Trump because he is not the emotionally mature person. And somebody who is taking action is controlling this person's emotions. Underneath it all is the Magician card, revealing that which was secret. Got a table full of useful things that could be influencing the cups here. In the past, here we go again. We've got 3 of the 4 kings and 4 cards. The King of Pentacles, oligarchs, wealthy men, powerful men, men in control. These are all the type of things that would be involved in the Epstein files. Because remember, if you're a man named in the Epstein files, you're not like, the guy who sells cars down the street or the school janitor. This is going to be your wealthy oligarchical types that are powerful men, politically connected with lots of wealth, and typically white. That's who's going to be on this list. Current situation is the Lover's card. It's the we're in this together type of thing. We're in this through and through. We're all going to ride this ride together. There's no getting off. There's no changing your mind on something like that. And again, I'm always drawn to the fact that you've got the snake going around the apple tree to the original sin. Overarching energy is the 8 of coins. Instead of creating wealth, I think there's value here. And with like Epstein and others, the value is being added every day. There's more and more kompromat being collected on a daily basis. That's what spying does. The CIA does it. Why wouldn't Israeli intelligence do the same thing? Because that's how you control people. The lesson to be learned is the Page of Pentacles, and sometimes only revealing a little bit of your collection is enough to get the King of Cups to do what the King of Wands wants you to do. Because there's a lot of men who've created a lot of evidence that puts them all in the same boat together. Out comes the Chariot. Advancing forward, grinding ahead. Whoever holds the kompromat holds the steering wheel. They may not be in charge. Ultimately, the Sphinxes are pulling the chariot, but this person has the reins. He can convince the chariot to go forward, to stop, to go to the left, go to the right. It's like the puppet master controlling the beasts that are actually doing all the work. So, from a metaphorical point of view, does Israel have kompromat on Trump and are using it to control him? I'd say so. Would Trump be the type of person that would allow for a lot of kompromat to be gathered on him? Yeah. Do you remember David Pecker, the head of the American Media Group, AMG, otherwise known, they were the owners of the National Enquirer, and they had their vault and their kill list where they would find stories about Trump and pay for them, and then catch and kill, I think is what they refer to those. So those stories never made it to the light of day. That's exactly what's happening here, except instead of currying favors from Trump or small monetary payments, what they've got is a whole vault of stuff that would be embarrassing, humiliating, or treasonous, and then you hold it over that person to control their reactions. King of Cups versus King of Wands. Now, it wouldn't be just the CIA or just the Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, that would be doing this. All intelligence agencies would be doing this. I'm talking to you, Russia. Where Hillary's emails, as Trump famously called out, how the hacking of the DNC and RNC servers was done by Russia, but only the data from the DNC servers got released, never the RNC servers. Almost like, carrot stick. Give the Republicans a carrot, give the Democrats the stick. How the Republicans responded? With a lot of pro-Russian rhetoric and pro-Russian stances over the last 8 years. Almost as if there's kompromat hanging over them. What about the rest of our allied intelligence agencies? Do they have, for lack of a better description, Epstein's client list? Are they sitting on that information? We've got the Six of Swords, overseas, women, children trafficking and stuff like that, crossed with the Fool card. New starts or foolish behaviors. And underneath is the Chariot. How interesting. So as the world goes, as the outcome card with that one, with controlling the narrative and driving that forward, underneath here, asking if other countries have it, overseas countries, I think they do. It's not like they're just collecting it now. They've been collecting it as well. They'd be foolish not to. I think that it might be more the timing of when they use it, as they're watching Israel manipulate things going forward. It could also be that they've got that information, but they have to be wary of their own politicians and what other countries know about their own politicians. Kind of like how Prince Andrew might be implicated in this whole scandal. That sort of thing. In the past, the World card. Yeah. Do other intelligence agencies have the Epstein client list? Yes. Yes, they've got it. Current situation is the Three of Cups. Now, let's not look at that as a celebration. Let's look at it a different way. There's a collective grouping, a collective closing of ranks on this one. It's almost, there's a raising your cup in unification here. So in some ways, if they're going to expose anything like this, the other allied nations have to close ranks to protect each other from information that would inevitably get out. Overarching energy is the Nine of Wands, and it's sort of there's a timing issue with this. When is it bad enough that you have to take action? It's almost like sitting back and waiting to take action. You can't wait too long. You might have to take action, you may not. But it's, again, while you're closing ranks. Lesson to be learned is the Empress. Probably Russia holds a lot of information. This card, I have multiple cards that come up with Epstein. This is one of them, which could be a Russian influence on it. Could be an Israeli influence. I get the Queen of Coins, and I get the Six of Cups, or 3 cards that usually involve, and actually the Eight of Swords, the Six of Swords too. Possibly there's the Empress. I think this is just protecting your own interests. Let's go with that. I like that. Protecting your own interests, which is why you have to close ranks. And you can't move because you have to protect your own interests. So you have to sort of pick and choose your battles as to when you're going to go. Outcome is the Page of Swords. So what's the best way to protect your interests? Is you leak information. You don't become the person who, it's not like UK spy agencies, MI6 doesn't come out and say that, oh yeah, we've been sitting on this for a while. What they do is they have an agent or somebody in that agency leak something to a reporter. And then you let the reporter gather up information, and you give them crumbs along the line to lead them down the narrative with enough evidence to back up what they're looking for, and basically show them where to look. And have them piece it together, and then it becomes an expose in their magazine or their newspaper article or something along those lines. It becomes breaking news. That's how you kind of get around that. And then you've got plausible deniability. Oh, it wasn't MI6 that leaked that. It was that intrepid reporter. But do other nations know about it? Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. But you can't just give up the whole ball of wax here, because wealthy, powerful, politically connected men are involved in this. Mostly white. That describes pretty much European and American politics, right? And oligarchs. The wealthy, powerful people. What's next for this? So again, how would they get this across? This would be through whistleblowers, through leaking information and stuff like that. With regards to Trump and Netanyahu, is Trump going to continue helping Netanyahu out to prevent personal embarrassment? Isn't it amazing the lengths people will go to avoid shame? Because if you think about it, if your name's on that list, the biggest thing that you've got besides social outcasting is shame for your actions. And what do we have? We have innocent civilians in Gaza being pounded by a military. Why? Because somebody's sitting on kompromat and they want that territory for greed. They want it for money. They want it for business opportunities and such. And other nations are letting a genocide happen because if they don't, then something embarrassing and shameful about them will be revealed. So lots of people get to be basically holocausted, for lack of a better description, so that some people can maintain face. Hell of a world we live in. What's going to be the outcome with all this kompromat? For one, it's going to be released. It's going to be released. What do we got? There's going to be disappointment. There's going to be a drive for the truth, a crusade for the truth, to get that information released. At some point, some nation's going to have enough of their bases covered that they release it. And then they can take the moral high ground. And as it gets released more and more, people get exposed by this. It's almost like, worldwide trials occurring over this, exposing those who did these deeds, because there is a list. They do get outed. I can't tell you the timing on it. There's a whole, again, because the whole political spectrum is impacted by this. The whole world order is impacted by this. there are kings and presidents and monarchs and royalty and wealthy businessmen and philanthropists and entrepreneurs and military personnel, just all walks of life that have a lot in common, and that's they're wealthy, powerful, politically connected men, mostly white. Doesn't mean there's not women in there, doesn't mean there's not minorities in there, but that's generally what you're going to have. And they wield power. And that's kind of like, it's kind of your Illuminati. It's kind of your deep state. It's the world order that governs the world. It's not the presidents of individual countries that govern it. You've got this other network that influences what the leaders of the countries do. Again, if you have doubts, I think it was Godfather 3 that really addressed that with Michael Corleone. And his waking up to how, from being a mafia don in New York or Nevada compared to what happens when you look at the whole world, the organized crime that runs the world type of thing. We'll leave it here on that uplifting note. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. We appreciate it. Thank you. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.